available up on stream, so start going betting on those. See the teams you've watched today, go bet on them. Let's, however, start talking about the next match we've got coming up for us. We are going to be watching our penultimate match before the 20-minute break today. It's going to be Castabouts versus Mercenary Coalition. Now, Castabouts, really interesting alliance to me. They spend their time in the Centre for Advanced Studies NPC Corp, and Castabouts is, I suppose, technically an alt alliance because they spend their time in there showing new players to the game what NPC Null is like. I believe they're up in Syndicate, if they're still there, if I remember correctly. And then you have Mercenary Coalition, reborn under the leadership of Sabre, a very old history alliance that died and has come back since BDCI, for example, left PL to join MC, and MC have been doing crazy good work, especially in the invasion of the North as well, in World War B. What do you guys think are these two teams facing up against each other? Let's start with Suetonia.
So I think the Mercenary Coalition team is probably a lot newer to the tournament, although I think they have a few more resources to put into it.
Yeah.
But the Centre of Advanced Studies are a team that have knocked out a few decent teams before. And they do have a long tournament history. I think they've been part of the past 4 or 5 tournaments. So.
Yeah. They've definitely been putting a lot of practice. They've got a lot of experience now. Mercenary Coalition, I believe, initially started by Sabre taking a group of young Unistas, guys from Eve University, and they kind of built a base and built and built and built, and now they're doing big mercenary contracts, taking part in some of the biggest fights in New Eden in very expensive ships. Really, really impressive as to how quickly they've become such a prevalent figure in the Eve Online Tranquility game. Jintam, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you expect the setups these guys to bring? Do you think that either team have a particular
I think we've always seen the Castabouts use very something non-standard. They're very much in love with their E-War, their strong E-War comps, or their strong DPS comps. For them, there's no middle ground. There's no fleet typhoons and control tomfoolery. It's either we're completely controlling you, or we're just killing you through any control you have. Whereas I think we're going to see MC tend towards more TQ style small gang ops, as a lot of people on their team are very, very good at that sort of thing, especially on Tranquility. One of the things that they did during World War B was do small gang on Intosis nodes, as that gave them a way to just collect a ton of frags, and that's what they want to do in the game.
And I just hope the match doesn't last as long as Celine's Alliance panel presentation this year. It dragged on a little bit, but I'm sure it's going to be absolutely fantastic. Let's get some predictions in. Jin, who do you predict is going to win CAS versus MC?
I think as long as Castabouts don't rustle up the ISK to pay Mercenary Coalition off, I think they're going to take it. I think Mercenary Coalition will win.
Okay, Suetonia?
I'm going to go with Castabouts. I think they have more tournament experience, and they love Navy Ravens. So
they do. I'm torn. I find it very difficult to choose. I think I'm going to go with CAS because of the experience, but from looking at the open practices that BayRJ put up on YouTube, you guys should totally check out the EVNT YouTube channel and press the subscribe button as well as following the stream. They looked like they were bringing some really strong setups. They were flown pretty darn well. They looked like a really solid, I would call them at least a mid-tier team already, if I just was based on those practices.
Yeah, I want to say that the real winner of this match is probably going to be the viewers, as I think both teams are going to bring something interesting today. Oh,
the cheese, good lord. But it's great, it's true, it's very true. We, the viewers, are the winners, as long as we don't keep getting hit by lightning still. So, if it's okay with you guys, we are going to head over to the commentary booth soon. We still have, let's see who it is, we still have Squeebles and Reload in the commentary. I'm sure they're doing an absolutely fantastic job. It's a tragedy that we in the studio cannot hear them during the day, but I'm sure they're giving you guys a great time. So let's head over to the casting booth with Reload and Sir Squeebles.
And welcome back to the commentator panel with me, Reload, and Sir Squeebles. MC bringing the bombers. Holy hell. 4 bombers, 2 crows, 2 golems, 2 Bargus on the MC side. Just missile spam for days. Crows for those webbing, neuting support ships. Golems have those TPs that can make those bombers apply really well. What can you tell me about the Castabouts, Squeebles?
They look great. A lot of synergy among their shape, with a Rattlesnake and 2 Navy Scorpions holding down their top end. They've got 2 Gilas for some serious DPS, 2 Kirans on the Logi front. They have 3 bombers of their own, so both teams really are sledgehammers against the bigger targets, but neither team has a great answer to smaller ships that would actually give the upper hand to the Castabouts team with those Gilas maybe, but really no tackle to speak of in this match. Just
don't need
this is just
tackle.
going to be a brawl. A distanced brawl.
A distance brawl, and it looks like MC are going for that Rattlesnake. They know they have that front-ended DPS, and oh my god, that Rattlesnake is getting nuked. 4 bombers, 2 Barghest, 2 Golems are going to eat that Rattlesnake, no problem. The Kirins are trying to rep it, and it is just getting nuked.
Yeah, okay, so I just saw an ASB charge here. He should have started that way earlier. Good lord.
Yeah, it's not. I don't think they're holding right. It looks like the Rattlesnake is actually holding. He is living to win, but it looks like he's in. He's in deep structure now. He's gonna be off soon when that torpedo volley of those bombers are gonna go in, and it is down.
That is a huge loss. If you look on the other side of the field, that Golem. Why are you priming the Golem, folks? That seems like a terrible decision. So
well,
a few important. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, this Golem is actually taking a lot of damage now, but it took way too long for Castabouts to actually apply their damage.
Right, and we always use the term trade, right? So if you're losing a ship, you better be gaining something. It doesn't necessarily have to be a kill. Maybe it's positioning, maybe it's tackle, maybe it's nuke pressure, but this is a DPS trade no matter what, because both of these teams are purely DPS teams. There's really no control to speak of. So one Hound just popped. I'm assuming that was the Gila drones, but...
Yeah, Gila drones, yeah. It did look like it was Arena, but it wasn't Arena. It looks like it was just Gila drones trying to headshot the Bombers support wing from MC.
Oh, man, this choice of a Golem is really disappointing. I definitely like what at least one of the Gilas is doing now, or it might actually be a flight of light drones. I'm going to try and track down those drones, but killing this bomber wing is huge.
those Gilas are just going to town. They know that their core of 2 Navy Scorps and Rattlesnake will not survive unless they kill this bomber wing, and they know those bombers are really squishy. There's no Logi on the MC side either, so they know those Logis will go down. Those bombers go down, but Navy Scorp on.
Yeah. They've really lost that window of opportunity to save those ships. They can now just remember them fondly, and I'm afraid without them okay, so this Golem is going to go down. All right, so you're on Castabouts. It's taken you this long to get one of the Golems into half structure, and now your bombers are
still alive.
Yeah, it's what a strange target choice. Now, to be fair, if you're choosing between which of 4 battleships to shoot at, that's always a tough choice. 1 Nemesis down for Castabouts, man, that's going to hurt. Every bomber they lose is going to be a big deal. But I don't know why they went for the Golem, which has that higher resist profile. I think I would have gone for Barghest, another Nemesis down now.
Yeah, I would actually go for Barghest as well if I was Castabouts, but it looks like Castabouts are losing all their bombers, even though the thing is that this was a DPS race, right? Kirins, they can rep almost as much as a Skimmy, but those Kirins, they have maybe 5 kilometer optimal range, and obviously they weren't close enough to rep the Rattlesnake and the Navy Scorpion. Basically, this was a DPS race. MC brought more bombers, while Castabouts actually just brought reps, and it looks like MC is just pushing that, just nuking as many big ships as possible, while just having no Logi on their side.
Yeah, and some poor decision making from what I can see on the Castabout side. I don't think they had a whole lot of great options, but I don't think they went with the best one from what I can see, because these crewers now have the Kirins webbed. They have 1 neuted, so your Logi is going to have a hard time supporting those bombers, which is, I think, what just got that last one killed on the Castabouts team. So the Gilas, I feel like, should have gone for killing the small ships a little bit sooner. And maybe it was an issue if they were waiting to try and grab a web on them, or their drones were really far apart. That, it's always hard to say exactly what they should have done without being in the ship yourself. This Golem now going low, but it's just not going to be enough. If anything, they absolutely have to get this last purifier down. There's no way that this Navy Scorp is going to tank 2 Barghest and a bomber. They have to get that bomber down.
I mean, this is actually a pretty close match if you look at it, but what Castabouts really needed to do is, from what I saw, I think Castabouts, they held back a bit, see what was going to happen. Golem finally down on MC, and see what would actually happen. But MC, they knew they had to rush in, and that's what they did. Castabouts,
Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but this is actually really close now. This
Yeah,
is
it's
really
really close.
So
They
if
still
it
have
comes
their
down,
Kirans.
okay, finally the Gila is doing what they need to do against these Krurs. That Navy Scorpion going down hurts for sure, but it's not the worst because these Bargus, while they will be able to apply somewhat to the Kirans and the Gilas, if the Kirans and the Gilas stay away from, say, a Newt in the utility high of the Bargus, they could win this just on time, basically. So the
That's
Gilas
true, yeah.
need to kill those Crewers, okay, because those Crewers are going to lock them down and amp up the application from the Bargus, but they kill the Crewers, and then they stay away from the Bargus, and
Right,
they can chip
absolutely.
through one. 4 minutes.
Well, we'll see, because the Bargus are from the Balanced Legion, so we'll see if they can balance this team. But because those Gila, but the thing is, these Bargus have smart bombs, so they can't lose drones. These Gilas cannot lose drones, because if they do, then it is game over. They need to kill these Crows ASAP, and it looks like MC know that, and they are burning as fast as possible.
Well, okay, so they do have smart bombs, but the Gilas should have most, if not all, their flights still available. They can cycle through those pretty quick. It doesn't really matter what damage type they're using, frankly. So as long as there's drones out, and with that EHP bonus, even with Tech 1 drones, they'll survive a single Bargus smart bomb. So
Oh yeah, definitely.
if these Bargus get to that point, they need to get right next to each other and stack those smart bombs. Bargus now scrammed on a Gila. That's really bad news.
That's not good. But this Crow is actually gonna go down. Yeah, he's down, and it looks like these Crows are actually shield Crows, because I actually saw that Crow have shield bots on it. So these are shield Crows.
Doesn't necessarily. I think you're right, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're shield. They could just be either no tank or armor tank trying to get some extra buffer out of the bots. Okay, so one Gila down. You can't say that's a piloting mistake because, frankly, I mean,
Yeah,
those
he
Crewers,
just got
those Crewers webbed it down. No surprise that a Bargus, especially with the point range bonus, is going to get to it. If this other Gila gets scrammed, and he's already webbed, so I'd say that's likely, if not inevitable.
Yeah, he's just sitting at 100 MS right now and he's getting hit by these Bargus quite hard.
Right, and you've got Newt on the Kieran. That could be from a Bargus, it could be from the Crewer, but man, there was a small window of opportunity there where Castabouts really could have, I would say, pulled back.
Yeah, they could definitely pull back this. I reckon their Geelies needed to rush in and kill the MC's bomber wing. Like, absolutely. I think that was their number one priority.
Right. I know every team loves listening to commentators after the fact tell them how they made mistakes, because it really is complicated. Even if I can see where the ships are, where the drones are, you just have to acknowledge that it is a real challenge for these guys on the field. So from what it looked like, though, I definitely agree with you in that support wing had to die. The question is, those Tech 1 drones out of Gila, can they apply unassisted to things like these Crewers? Because when you send your drones out after them, you're sending your drones a long way, potentially, if these Crewers are running out. So if they can't apply well, you're wasting a whole lot of damage. Maybe that's what scared them off of doing it.
Yeah, definitely. And looks like these Bargus are sitting lovely. The final Gila down on the Castabout side, and it's just clean up for MC. Actually, quite a close match if you look at it. I mean, if they rushed in their Gilas to kill their MC's bomber wing, then it would have been a much closer fight, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think there was. I think that match was 1 or 2 target calls away from being a win for Castabouts.
Definitely.
I really do. I mean, the Bargus is a super potent ship. There's no doubt about that. The Balanced Legion term is being used in the chat. But it's a really strong ship. I don't think it should have been strong enough to close this out if the Gilas had worked together. The Gilas can also equip rapid lights in their high slots, and I imagine that's what happened here. So maybe the Crewer pilots were really great about managing the range and kiting those drones out and using heat on their prop mods.
Yeah, definitely.
But even with that being the case, really, I know one actually had webs and a Newt on a Kieran most of the time, which tells me that they weren't moving too quickly. So if I'm a Gila pilot, I would have had to have gotten over there and cleared it, I feel like, in order to save my Logi and open the possibility of a fight.
Yeah, definitely.
Going my way.
I think this is a match of tank versus gank. Like, Navy Scorpions, Rattlesnakes, Gila all have a shield resistance bonus. Kirins also quite small, and they also can rep quite a lot. Versus Barguests, not necessarily tanky, but they have a lot of DPS. Golems have the application with the target painters, and also can put out a lot to DPS, and obviously the bombers. 4 bombers, that's a lot of DPS.
I definitely want to hear the analyst desk talk a little bit more about the target calls there for castabouts, because let's not forget they opened with the golem as a primary, which I think was a step in the wrong direction. Kieran goes down, but that's the clock, and it looks like castabouts is now casted out to the losers bracket. They are not out of the tournament yet. But nice job to Mercenary Coalition. Really, really good match. Look forward to hearing what the guys at the desk have to say.